start standing on top of your mat. Have your feet right underneath you, about hip distance apart, and make sure that they're actually hip distance and not shoulder width. Bring your feet a little narrower than you might think you need. And then just let your knees be nice and soft. Your arms heavy by your side. And then nod your chin. Think about lifting the back of your head up towards the ceiling. And then you're just going to round all the way down. Knees are soft. Thinking about really finding length through your spine. So think about widening the sitting bones as you as you come down towards the floor. And then really root through your heels as you pull yourself all the way back up, rounding up one vertebrae at a time. Again, your knees are nice and bent. And then again, starting at the top of your head, nod your chin, soft knees, and then just slowly roll all the way down as though you're peeling yourself off a wall. And then think about lengthening through the sitting bones, widening them, finding that extra space through the hips and low back. So you come down towards the floor again. You can have your knees quite bent just like mine. And then you're going to round yourself all the way back up nice and slowly. And then stop with your head on top of your spine. Last time, round all the way down. Take a nice big inhale and then exhale as you round back down. Let your arms be nice and heavy. And then gently walk yourself over towards the left. Think about reaching back through that right sitting bone, getting a stretch to your right side, and then swing up and over. Walk your hands to the left, same thing. Reach back through that left sitting bone, head is heavy. Let yourself fall back to the center, and then round yourself all the way up. One vertebrae at a time. Let your shoulders come on top of your hips, ribs, head, all in nice alignment here. And then you're just going to bring your hands onto your hips or by your side, whichever is more comfortable. And you're just going to shift your weight gently as you lift that right leg up into a tabletop and then lower it back down, staying on the right side. Trying to keep yourself as centered as possible and then lower down. So almost think like there's a connection between your right sitting bone and your left foot, kind of giving you a little extra sling of support as you lift and lower that right leg. And drop it back down. 2 more like this. Breathing as you move. Shoulders are relaxed. And last one. And lower it all the way down. Bring that leg up one more time. And then reach it back behind you. And then pull it back in, up toward your chest. And then reach it back behind you. And pull it back in. 4 more. Finding that little bit of hip extension. You can tilt your torso forward a little as you reach back. Even add a little bend in that front knee. For 4. Just make sure that as that leg is going back, you have the opening through the hip, but you're not arching your low back. 2. And last one. Good. From here, your leg is in tabletop. And you're going to reach it out towards the right and then pull it back in. And then reach it out to the right and pull it back in. 6 more to the right and in. 5, 4. Feeling the outside of your glute working here as you extend that leg out and back into. And last one. And then lower that leg all the way down. Give both legs a little shake. And we will switch to the other side. So just starting, find that connection. Left elbow to the inside of your right shoulder, not elbow, right shoulder, inside of your left foot. Left shoulder to the inside of your right foot. Find that connection between the sitting bone and the heel as you pull that leg up. And then just tap it underneath you. And back up. Really just finding that nice hip flexion. Sitting bone is nice and heavy as you lift up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. This time you're going to lengthen that leg back behind you. You can add that little pitch of the torso forward as you bring that leg back, and then send it back and forward. 6 more. Again, keeping that arch out of the low back, but finding that extension through the left hip. Pivoting around that right femur now. 3, 2, and last one. And this time your leg's gonna come out to the side, finding that engagement through the outer hip, and back up, and out, and in, and out. 4 more. 3, make sure that right leg isn't locked out. There's a little bit of softness in the knee. 2, and last one, bring that leg up to tabletop, lower it all the way down, and then shake your legs out. Go ahead and grab onto your weights. Again, they're nice and light. You only need one to start. We won't do both at the same time. So from here, you are going to find a nice half lunge position. So that left leg is going to be forward, your right leg is going to come back. You're in a nice line from the crown of your head all the way to the heel. And you're just going to bring your arm in line with your elbow or your shoulder. Shoulder and elbow today. I will get it right at some point. All right, so your hand is in line with your shoulder. Your palm is facing in towards your midline, and your wrist is nice and strong. From here, you're just going to reach the arm straight up overhead. Feel the shoulder blade gently slide down as you lift, and then pull it back in like your elbow is coming right back towards that hip bone. And then lift and pull it back down. And lift and pull it back down. And when I say you're lifting up, you're still on that diagonal. So instead of it just your head to your heel, it'll be your right hand to your heel. Think about your shoulder gently lowering as you lift that arm up. So if you were to put your hand on your collarbone where it meets your shoulder, that area softens and descends gently as you lift up. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Lower that arm down, bring your arm in line with your hip now. So it's right next to your outer thigh. And you're just gonna bend the elbow in to 90 degrees. And then you're gonna reach back, lifting that weight behind you above your glute. Give the tricep a little squeeze and then resist it back to that 90 degrees. And then again, extend it all the way long and back in. You're reaching back with your pinky on that right side. The palm is facing in. You have a little external rotation through that shoulder. So think about having a nice openness through the chest. You can even bring your shoulder there, or your hand to your shoulder if it makes sense. 2 more like this. Last one. Leave the arm out, rotate the palm to face away. And then lower the arm down just in line with that leg, and then reach it up with that palm facing out. Lower it back down, and lift, and down, and lift. Think about reaching from the back of the arm to lift the weight rather than your hand, so you're keeping that nice strong wrist. If your balance starts to get challenged here, you can always hold on to something for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And lower that arm all the way down. Bring both legs together. Let's stay up on the angle here. So from here, you're gonna find a nice little baby squat, and you're gonna lift your arms straight up, and then bend at the elbow, and then reach back behind you. And then swing your arms straight forward with control as you lift up. Bend that elbow, draw your elbow by your side, and extend it long, palm faces in. Sweep that arm forward. Bend the elbow in. Extend your arm back behind you. 3 more in this direction. Lift it up, bend it in, and extend. Sweep it forward. Bend and extend. Last one. Bend and extend. From here, we're gonna reverse it. So you're gonna sweep it back behind you, bend the elbow in, press up, and then sweep it all the way down to that tricep press. Bend the elbow in, and then extend it up in line overhead. If you'd like here, you can externally rotate. You can lift up through the back with the palm facing away from you and then press up. So if you'd like, add a little bit of rotation when it gets past your hip, palm out, bend that elbow in, internally rotate your arm, and then press up. 4 more. Bend in, weight to the shoulder, and then press up. 3. Last one. Sweep it back, bend it in, and press up. And then bring that arm down, lift up, give your legs a little shake, and we're gonna switch to the other side. So now, your right leg will be forward, your left leg slightly back. Find that nice hinge position. Again, heel all the way to the crown of your head, weight by your shoulder, and then you're just gonna lift that weight straight up in that nice diagonal, and then bring it back in. And lift it up and in. For 7. 6, really think about resisting as you bring that arm back in. 5. 4, palm is facing you. 3, 2, and last one. And then bring that arm back by your side. And then swing your arm back until that arm is extended. Find your tricep press. And then bend it in. And press it back. And bend in. Palm is facing you. Arm is externally rotated. So feel that shoulder blade gently sliding in towards your spine. For 6. 5. 4. 3. 2 more. Nod your chin ever so slightly so you're in a nice long line from your neck. And then pause with your arm long, rotate your palm up, and then lower your arm towards your leg, just in line with that leg, and then reach it back. Again, think about lifting from the bicep, the elbow, rotating that arm up in your shoulder socket, taking the arm, or the wrist rather, out of it. For 6. 5. And we'll add in that little circle situation. 3. 2. And last one. And lower that arm all the way down. Find yourself in this nice little squat here. It doesn't need to be deep. Start with that arm by your shoulder. Press it straight up. Resist it down. Reach the arm back behind you. Bend it in at the elbow, and then press it up. 6 more. If you'd like, you can add that rotation to lift with the palm facing up, your choice. Bend it in, and press up, and lower down. Elbow, or weight to shoulder, press up, lowering back down. Last one, reach it up, and then we're gonna reverse and bend it in. So from here, come back into your tricep, kick back, float that arm up, 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 up. When it's in that nice long line, bend it in, triceps. Resist it down, and then resist as you come up without twisting through the torso, and kick it back. 5 more. Making your range of motion whatever feels comfortable for your shoulder. Two more. Lifting it up, nice straight line. Last one. Feel that shoulder blade descend as your arm lifts. Weight towards the shoulder, kick it back, lowering it all the way down, and then come all the way up to standing. Bring your weights off to the side. Shake your arms out and come towards the back of your mat. We're gonna roll down and walk out into all fours here, but just give your spine a nice second to stretch, find that width between your sitting bones, and then just walk yourself out until you're in all fours. Knees right underneath you. And then from here, think about pressing into the floor, and then you're just gonna let your sternum sink towards the floor, your shoulder blades come towards one another, and then press them away as you lift up. Spine doesn't change, you're just sliding your shoulder blades in on your back and then away from one another. A couple more just like this. These nice scapula glides. As you press up, feel a little tug back on your heels of your hands towards your hips or your knees. You can find all those muscles in your shoulders and your armpits activating. They're probably already ready to go after what we just did standing. 2 more. And last one. Pause at the top. Find that nice neutral. So you're not pressed all the way up, but you're not sunk down either. You're going to lengthen through the tailbone. Think about it sliding down towards the floor. Upper body isn't moving. And then you're just going to find width through the sitting bones and widen the sitting bones, arching through the low back. Upper back stays the same. Again, think like you're pouring your tailbone towards the floor. Hip bones are reaching up towards your belly button. And then they're going to reach away as you widen your sitting bones. Narrowing them as you lower and round the low back. And then widen them, finding that length through the front of your belly. And then this time round your hips under, hip bones up towards your ribs, and then round your spine all the way up towards the ceiling. Finding a nice rounding through the whole back. And then starting at the base of the spine, uncurl the sitting bones, and find that length and width across the front of your whole body. Opening your collarbone up as you look forward, and then again press through the floor around your spine towards the ceiling. And then find that nice extension again. 3 more. You can go at your own pace here, inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the other. Last one. And then we're going to find a nice neutral spine. You can stay on your hands, or if you'd like, you can come down onto your forearms. I'm going to start on my forearms, your choice. And then you're just going to extend your right leg back behind you and then float it up. Your foot will be above your hip, most likely. That's totally fine. But similar to how we were doing when we were standing, you want to make sure that you're in a nice long line from your head to your toes. So you're not arching in that low back. Put a little extra weight into that right arm to keep you nice and square. 2. And last one, keep that leg lifted and then bend it in underneath you. And then extend it long. And then bend it back in underneath you. And extend. And bend. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one, leave that leg long. And then cross it, and you're going to tap the left side of your mat. And then reach it back up straight in line with your hip. And then tap it over and touch the outside left corner of your mat. And then bring it back to center. And cross. And lift back to center. So you can internally rotate as you cross over. And then rotate that leg back to parallel at the top. And up. 3 more. Keep pressing the floor away. Keeping your chest lifted, not sinking down towards the floor. Forearms are nice and active. Last one, you're going to leave it lifted. You're going to bend your knee in, extend, lengthen it over to that left side, lift, bend it. So we're combining these 2 moves here, and over, and up, and in. And up, and in. Check in with that right arm. Make sure your hips are nice and square. Your weight hasn't all the way shifted over to the left. 2 more. And out. And tap. And then bring that knee all the way underneath you. Bring your knees nice and wide. And sit back on towards your heels. And let your head rest on the floor for a moment here. Take a nice big inhale. And then exhale, float, or let it all go, and try to melt down towards the floor a little, lengthening through that chest. And then you're going to come back to your forearms. And you're going to extend your left leg back behind you this time. Again, square through your chest. And you're just going to float that leg up and tap it down. And lift and lower. Keeping those hips nice and square. Making sure your knee is right underneath your hip. Three more. Two. Last one. And then bend that knee in and extend. And bend it in and extend. For 6. 5. 4. Resist as you bring it in and as you press out. 2. Last one. Tap it to the outside of that mat on the right side and then lengthen it back to center. And then internally rotate as you cross. Lift it back up, rotating back to parallel. And a reminder that that rotation comes from your femur, not your foot or your knee. They just follow. 3, 2, and last one. Leave it lifted, bend it in, extend it back, cross it over to the right, and lift and bend in. Staying out of that low back, you're really just focusing on the length through the leg, the opening through the hip. 5 more. 5, 4, 3. Make sure your weight hasn't shifted all the way over to the right. 2. Last one here. And then bend it in underneath you. Walk back up onto your palms. And then round your spine up towards the ceiling. And then bring your toes together. You can leave your knees where they are. Bring them a little wider. And then just melt all the way down towards the floor yet again. Take a nice big breath in here. And exhale. Melt a little more towards the floor. And then you're going to come to sit. And you have 2 choices here. You can either sit how I'm sitting now on your knees, low, nice and low. You can come up into high kneeling, or you can sit cross-legged. Your choice. You can also grab a block, a pillow, something to sit on to bring your butt a little higher if you're sitting cross-legged. Wherever you are, you want to be able to sit in a nice long line, not arch forward. You don't want your ribs spilling open. You want that nice connection between your ribs and your hips. We're going to be here for a minute or 2, but we're going to be using the weights. You can always drop them if you need for a little bit more arm stuff. So we're going to start with one weight at a time. Your left weight is just going to be right by your side. Left hand can rest in your lap or on your hip, whatever feels good. You're just going to bring your right arm so that the palm is facing in and your elbow is right by your side. You're just going to externally rotate and resist to bring it back in. And if you're sitting on your feet like I am, just make sure that your sitting bones are reaching down towards the floor to find that little bit of length through the low back. And if you're in high kneeling, you're tucked under just ever so slightly so you're open through the front of the hips. And if you're sitting on the floor, you just want to make sure that you're up nice and tall. You can alternate between the different positions too if you'd like. Resisting as you open and then resisting even more as you close back in. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. From here, externally rotate that arm. Let your palm face the ceiling. You're going to open it out towards the side and then resist to draw that elbow back in towards your side. Again, palm stays up. So you're almost thinking about keeping your hand more or less at the same height and you're just opening or bending and straightening that elbow. 5 more. Good again. Palm is lifting up. Check in with that wrist. Make sure you haven't like curled it in weird. 2 more. Last one. Bend that arm all the way in, and then bring your hand internally rotate now. Hand will be by your hip, the palm facing in, and you're just gonna lift up like you're gonna elbow someone, and then bring it back in just for 4, 3, feeling that shoulder blade gently slide in towards your spine on your back, 2, last one. This next time, you're gonna lift through the elbow, and then you're gonna rotate your palm towards the front, and then extend your arm up overhead in a diagonal, and then as you come back in, you can make it a little bit more smooth. So pull that elbow the person behind you, flip the palm forward, and open. Again, you can bring your hand towards your shoulder. It should be descending gently, that muscle as you lift up between your shoulder and your collarbone. Drawing a sword is the name of this. So literally just do that. Draw a sword. Woo. Or, I don't know, you have a pen in your left pocket and you're grabbing it with your right hand and you're like, hey, here, I got it. 2 more. And last one. And then you're going to lower your right weight and you're going to pick up your left weight. Starting with that arm right at a 90-degree angle, elbow in line with your side. Check in with that low back. Reach those sitting bones towards the floor. You're just going to open and externally rotate, and then resist as you bring it all the way into that internal rotation. And then open and bring it back in and open. You can think like your elbow is in a little bowl here, and it's just sort of sliding around. I have like a little ring dish that I use that's like the perfect size of my elbow. If my elbow were to fit in a bowl, it has little peppers in it. It sits on my desk. 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Pause with that arm out. Rotate your arms parallel and then extend that arm out and resist to bring it back in. Again, you can almost think that your hand stays at the same height. That armpit and lats, those muscles on your back are working here even though your arm is moving, or because your arm is moving, I guess is a better phrase. And back in. 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Bring that elbow all the way in, palm towards your right hip, and then you're just going to draw up, elbow that anonymous annoying person behind you, and then release it back down. And lift up. So hand to hip, hand to more or less your shoulder, and back down. Last one. This time you are going to add that rotation. So pull up, palm faces you. Rotate that palm to face away, and then press up. And then resist it back in as you rotate your palm to face your body. Palm in, rotate, palm out. Back in. 8 more. And we're gonna add in both weights. Repeat a little and add some new things. 5. Also start to make sure you're not like leaning from one side or the other. You're nice and upright. 2. Last one. And all the way in and down. Give your arms a little shake and then grab both weights from here. Bring your palms to face one another, and you're just gonna open them out and then rotate the palms towards the ceiling. Reach out, resist to bring them back in, and you can leave the palms facing up as you bring the arms back to 90 degrees. Externally rotate, reach out, resist to come back in, grow tall, and then bring those arms into parallel. Externally rotate, lengthen, draw them in, feel your ribs close, and back to center. Try to think about what's happening as you're doing this. So what does it feel like? Like as I extend my arms, I can feel all the muscles in my back and my abs start to support them. And then again, as I resist them, all the way back in. 2 more. Last one. Leave them long. Face them forward, lower them down towards your hips, and then resist to bring them up just in line with those shoulders and back down. You can keep your elbows nice and soft, lift up, palms face out. Again, check in with that low back. Sitting bones reaching towards the floor, gentle tuck under if you're in high kneeling. Engagement through the whole body. 2. And last one. And then lower the arms all the way down. Everyone can come to a high kneeling position. Weights are right by your hips. Your knees are underneath your hips. Tuck that tailbone under. And from here, you're going to reach your arms straight out in front of you and resist them back down. And straight out in front and down. 3 more. You can bend roll your your mat up underneath your knees if you need. You can put a blanket or a towel or a pillow underneath you, whatever you need to make it a little bit more comfortable. Pause here with the arms lifted. Lower the arms by your side as you sit back towards your heels. Lift the arms up in front of you as you tuck the tailbone under and lift up. And lower down just where that glute hovers above your heels, and then up and back down for 4. 3, think about narrowing the sitting bones at the top, widening them as you come back down. 2. And last one. Bring those arms out to the side. Lower them down as you come down, and lift as you lift. And widen and narrow. 4. You can almost think about having a thumbs up here and lifting up, reaching the thumbs high. For 3, 2, and last time, lift all the way up, lower those arms down. Just plant your weights in front of you, and then you're gonna plant your left hand down and extend your right leg and then your right arm up overhead. Take a nice stretch here. You can let your head and arm fall if that feels good. And you're gonna bring your hand behind your head, press your head and hand into one another, and you're gonna open up, rotate towards the ceiling, getting a little stretch, maybe all the way into that inside of your right hip bone, and then rotate it down, rotate towards the floor, and then press into that left arm again as you rotate open, and back down. 2 more. Open and down. Last time like this. And down. And then sit onto your left hip rather. Bring your right knee on top. And from here, bring your right hand to your right hip. Left hand is more or less under your shoulders. You're going to lift up into a side plank. And then you're going to resist back down. And you're going to lift into that side plank. Both knees are bent, stacked one on top of the other. Reach the knees towards the floor on a long diagonal as you press up and resist back down. Shoulder is away from that ear for 3. You can do this on your forearms too if you'd like to. Last one, you're going to stay at the top and you're just going to open that leg up and back down. So you're lifting the whole leg in that bent knee 90-degree position and up for 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, keep pressing away, 2, last one, leave the knee lifted, extend the leg, bend the knee back in, and then extend, and bend, and extend, and bend. As you bend it, you can sort of bring it back in line with that bottom leg for 3, 2, keep pressing the floor away, last one, and then lower that leg down, lower the hip down. Take a nice side bend over to the right side. And then we're gonna sort of combine all of those things together. So, coming back to your left hand, or again, your forearm, whichever you choose, you are going to press into that side plank, lift that leg up, extend the leg long, bend it back in, close it, lower the hip, lift the hip, lift the leg, extend the leg long, bend it back, lower it down, lower the hip. We have 5 more. And you can sort of make the lift and extend a little bit more fluid as you bend and lower. If you would like, 3, 2, and last one. And then split those legs. Send your right leg back, your left leg forward. And then just take a second here and then side bend up and over towards that right side. Reach through that left arm and then think about twisting and rotating your torso down towards the ground. And then swing yourself around to the other side. So to start, you're going to come up onto high kneeling, place that right hand down, extend the left leg, extend the left arm, and then find yourself in a nice side bend here. Whew. And then bring your hand behind your head, rotate yourself to parallel, and then rotate towards the floor. And then open up towards the ceiling. And back down. 4 more. Going at your own pace here. This should feel nice. Last one, open up. And down. And then come all the way onto that right hip. Right hand, bend your, excuse me, bend your knees. They're stacked, feet are stacked, and you're just gonna find that side plank. Adjust as you need. Again, you can always do this on your forearm, and then you're just gonna lift and lower those hips. Find that heel of the hand dragging towards your body to get all of that support from the whole right side of your body as you lift and lower. 4 more. 3, 2, keeping that shoulder out of that ear. Again, if you're on your forearm, it looks exactly the same. And then pause at the top here, lifting that bottom leg and lower back down. Whole leg lift, same shape. For 6, 5, 4, resist as you come down, 3, 2, last one, leave it lifted. Extend the leg forward, bend it back. Extend the leg forward, find that hip flexion, and then bring it back. You can find that little glute activation as you bring the left thigh in line with the right. And forward, and extend, and bend back. 2 more. Last one. And then lower that leg down, lower the hips. Take a nice side stretch over towards the left before we add both of these together. All right. You're going to lift up into that side plank. Lift the leg, extend the leg, bend the leg, bring it back, close the legs as you lower the hips. Again, you can make it more fluid. We're going for 6 total. Bring it back, find that engagement through the glute. Press the floor away with that right hand. 3 more. My right glute is also on fire if yours is as well, especially on the way down. 2. And last one. Press with the whole hand. And down. And then separate those legs apart. Left leg goes back, right leg comes forward. And find that excellent side stretch to the left. And then rotate towards your thigh. Keep reaching, or if you'd like, you can just drop your arm. And then you're going to spin around and come to all fours. From here, you're going to tuck your toes under, and you're going to slide your right foot back and then slide your left foot back to meet it. You can also be on your forearms if you prefer here. And then you're just going to lift your hips up, find a down dog nice and quickly, and then use that to sort of find yourself in this nice plank position. I'm going to drop my knees. If you're on your forearms, you're just going to press your body forward and back. Actually, we'll all do that. Press yourself forward, and then your weight back. And if you're on your knees, you're doing the same thing, just your hips will lift. And if you're on your forearms, you're doing the same thing as if you're on your hands. So shifting your weight back into your heels, getting that calf stretch, and then forward like you're looking over the edge of a cliff. And then back and forward for 6. 5. Breathing. 3, 2, and last one. Drop those knees and round your spine back, letting your belly rest on your thighs, letting your forehead rest on the ground. You can gently rock back and forth from one side to the other, especially with your forehead on the ground. It feels super nice. And then when you're ready, you're going to come onto your back just to do a little stretch. So from here, you're going to bring your arms into a cactus position, head flat on the floor. Cross your right leg over your left, and then let your legs fall over to the right, your gaze over to the left. Keeping that left shoulder on the ground. Take a few deep breaths. And then rotate the weight so your left foot is planted on the floor. Externally rotate your right leg so you come into that figure 4 stretch. And you can stay here, or you can let your legs fall over now to the opposite side to get a little stretch through that right hip. And if this isn't comfortable, you can just come into a traditional figure 4, grabbing behind your thighs. I don't know what happened there. Grabbing behind your thighs. Or you're here. Come back up to the center, uncross your legs. Cross your now left leg over your right and let them fall over to the right. Let them fall over to the left. Gaze to your right. And by gaze, I mean close your eyes, relax. Back to the center. Externally rotate that left leg, find your figure 4. And then now send your legs over towards the right side. I like planting my foot on the floor. And then keeping that opposite shoulder on the ground. But again, you can always come up into that traditional figure 4. Just make sure that you are reaching your tailbone long and you are holding behind your thigh on that right leg. One more breath. Coming all the way up. Uncross your legs, bring them at least as wide as your mat. You can go a little wider if it feels good. You can keep the arms in this cactus position. And you're just going to windshield wiper your legs from one side to the other 2 or 3 times. One more time. And then pause at the top and let your knees fall in towards one another. Reach your arms up, back behind you, keeping your shoulders and hands on the floor just as far up as you can go. And then draw your arms back in. 2 more, getting that little stretch to the front of your chest. Relaxing your belly. And back down with the elbows, last one. And then bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And then find them all the way down by your side with your knees resting towards one another. Just take a big inhale. Feel yourself be nice and heavy on the floor, a nice width through your collarbone as you roll your arms open. And you are all finished. Thanks.